everything. And the words quoted there is what? Nam Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Ras Vigraha Purna Siddho Nitya Mukto Abhinama Nama Namina. That holy name can give us anything, both material and spiritual. So the materialist can get what? Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. But then if he wants, he also can get rid of those material desires. And how can one get rid of the material desire? Is only by association of the devotees. When one comes to the understanding that all my desires, all my abhilasha, they are actually the roadblocks, they are anarthas. So when one comes to the understanding that all my material desires are anarthas, and then he intentionally tries to avoid those abhilasha, those desires, those material desires, then he comes to the understanding that I have to actually cultivate spiritual desires. Okay, so that is important. And then the nature of the holy name, which is uh, Chintamani, then when we associate with the holy name, we'll cultivate spiritual desires, and holy name will fulfill those spiritual desires. And what is the spiritual desire we are all looking for? Is to be situated in our constitutional position, to become the servant of Krishna, right? Because by putting ourselves in that situation, in that constitutional position, it is then we become blissful, right? So then we will like to cultivate that desire. And how can we come back to our constitutional position? It's by associating with the limbs of devotional service. Okay. Now, here the holy name is said to be eternally perfect. Now, when it is said to be eternally perfect, that means free from any kind of material touch, right? And all the four features of the holy name, or all the four features of Krishna, like holy name, form, qualities, and pastimes, are perfect, right? They are fully perfect. And they are manifestation of one of the potency of Krishna. And what is that potency? That is Sandhani potency. In verse number 18, we see that is Sandhani potency, right? And all these features, all the four features of Krishna, the name, the form, the qualities, and the pastimes are manifestation of this potency, and they're eternal, perfect, and spiritual. Okay, so we understand. Now, we have discussed that his name and the form are not different. The eternal, the qualities are also. We have discussed about the 64 qualities of Krishna, right? And actually, what happens is that through these qualities, or in the waves of these qualities, the pastimes manifest. For example, one of the qualities of Krishna is that he's Bhakt Vatsal. And then there are pastimes around him being a Bhakt Vatsal, right? So basically, if you see, all these things are related to each other. And all these things are, non-different. They are fully spiritual, eternal, all-powerful. Okay? So then in the verse number 26, Bhaktivinoda Thakur highlights that Lord Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes are non-different from each other. And not only of Krishna's, but in the next verse he says that also this is same for the pure liberated souls also. Okay. Now, yes, we have talked a lot about the powers of holy name, that how holy name is non-different from the form, the qualities, and the pastimes. But then we don't have that experience. When we are chanting, we don't associate with the form, the qualities, and the pastimes. We don't see them. So what is the roadblock? the roadblock, Padma Chopra was highlighting that actually the manifestation of the potency of the holy name depends on our receptivity and our sincerity. And depending on sincerity and receptivity, the stages, there are three stages of manifestation of the power of the holy name. And those three stages are what? First is Namaparad, second is Namabhas, and third is Shuddha, right? Pure chanting of the holy name. First is chanting with offenses, second is the clearing stage, and third is the pure chanting. And what happens there? In the first stage, one is very casual about offenses, not careful about avoiding the offenses against the holy name. And so it is said it is kind of a, shooting an empty gun. Padma Prabhuji highlighted that. Like it's similar to shooting an empty gun. Does it has any value? Just there is sound, but no impact. The empty gun cannot kill anyone, cannot harm anyone, cannot protect you. So if we are chanting while in parallel doing all the offenses against the holy name, then we don't see, any value to it, right? We don't see any value. Why does it happen? It happened due to lack of sambandha gyan. It is due to lack of sambandha gyan. So what we have to do is to gain knowledge of the tattvas. What are the four tattvas? Swatattva, Paratattva, Sadhana Tattva, and Sadhya Tattva. Then we have to get to know, who we are, who Krishna is, what is, how we can achieve Krishna, the sadhana tattva, and what happens, what is the sadhya, what is the prayojan, right? So we should try to study scriptures. We should try to study Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and books left by acharyas like Sri Harinaam Chintamani, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. They're very important texts. Updesha. These are the books which will help us to get to know the Sambandh Gyan. And once we know the Sambandh Gyan, once we develop faith in the holy name, then gradually we'll start avoiding the offenses. And then the name will start revealing. And when the name starts revealing, that stage is known as Namabhas. It's kind of a stage where the sun is just rising on the horizon, right? We see, a dim light, right? So that is known as Namabhas. So when in the Namabhas stage, what happens is that uh, the devotee gets to know about the Sambandh Gyan, he chants with faith. Gradually, he will come to the stage of Shuddhana, right? And so that is what our Harinaam Prabhuji explained us. And then he explained uh, the holy name is the root of everything. Holy name is the root of everything in a sense that uh, that holy name was the one which actually manifested everything. We will come to know Krishna through the holy name. And entire Vaishnava Dharma is manifested through holy name. And Padmaso Prabhuji also highlighted that through Jaiva Dharma, he highlighted quoting Jaiva Dharma, which is again a text by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, says that when one comes to the stage of Nistha, then the form reveals spontaneously. And then the next stage, Ruchi, what happens? The qualities are revealed. And in Asakti stage, the pastimes are revealed, the practitioner, right? So now Bhaktivinoda Thakur is highlighting what is the difference between a Vaishnava and a non-Vaishnava, or almost a Vaishnava, Vaishnava Prai. So he says Vaishnava is one who has faith in the holy, who has become purified, he is chanting the holy names, is known as a Vaishnava. So now please try to understand. Having faith in the holy name, what does it mean? That means that one has Sambandha Gyan. One understand this faith, this Shraddha is Shastriya Shraddha. This is not Lokik Shraddha. Okay? So one has to gain knowledge, uh, study the scriptures, develop faith in the scriptures, develop faith in the holy name, develop faith in the process of devotional service. Now, one who does not have faith, strong faith, right, and he is not yet purified, is a Vaishnav Prai, almost a Vaishnav. He'll get, some time to get to the stage. And what will help the Vaishnava Prai to become Vaishnava is faith. That faith will come by studying scriptures. Okay? Now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur subsequently says that in this material world, there are only two things spiritual, primarily in contact with the holy name. One is the holy name, and second is the soul. So, and their relationship. So that is what Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is highlighting in verse number 35, that in this world of birth and death, the individual souls and Lord Krishna's holy name alone are spiritual. Okay. Thereafter, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that there are two type of names, primary names and the secondary names. Primary names are basically names related to Krishna's pastime, like Devaki Nanda, Yashodananda, Girdhari, Gopinath, Radhanath. All these names are related to Krishna's pastime, the primary name. Secondary names are kind of name related to Krishna's relationship with the material world, right? And they are like Paramatma, Shristikarta, huh? All these. These are secondary names. Now, what happens? The secondary names are found basically, they're more related to one who are practicing karma, kand, gyan, kand, and all. And maximum what we can get out of chanting the secondary names is liberation, impersonal liberation. But the primary name can give us what? Treasure of pure love of Krishna. So, there are two things which are very important for us as practitioners. One is chanting, and second is reading scriptures. Why? Because by reading Srimad Bhagavatam, by reading Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, we'll develop faith. We'll develop faith in the Holy, right? And then when we chant with faith, we'll get purification, faster purification. And once we get purification, we understand that holy name is not different from Krishna. Non-different means absolutely non-different from Krishna's forms, qualities, and pastimes. Then we'll start progressing in our spiritual lives gradually through the stages, right, of devotional service. And when we come to the stage of bhava and prema, that is the desired result of practicing, right? Because now why? Because it is in that stage of bhava and prema we can actually do tangible service for Krishna. Because we are kind of situated in our constitutional position. We'll develop our Sarupa Siddhi will happen. And in that Sarup Siddhi, we'll be able to serve Krishna and also serve humanity, right? Because actually we'll become pure, we'll develop power in a sense of a spiritual purpose by which we can do some service. Otherwise, we'll only create chaos even in a spiritual society, right? So at this point of time, we have to do two things. One is to chant attentively and without offense. Second is by reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and books left by Acharyas, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Deshamrita, Harinaam, Chintamani, and similar books. We should cultivate faith. Okay? So that is very important. Now, okay, so we still have some time. So different results brought by proper chanting. What is the result? Hmm? Result is that pure chanting of the name will bring pure love. The Nama Bhasa chanting will bring pure love, but only gradually, slowly. So as we move from Nama Bhas to Shuddha Nam, our speed will be expedited. Okay? Nama Aparad will not lead us anywhere. It is good. It's definitely chanting what in 45, 46 Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying. That the name coming out of your mouth and you hearing the name in itself is, very powerful. You become delivered. Delivered means you become delivered from material entanglement, material desires. So we see for ourselves, gradually, we see that we are becoming detached from material desires, right? But as we become conscious of not committing offenses, as we become conscious of gaining faith in the holy name, then we'll see, faster growth. Okay. Now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur in verse 50 and 51 says that there is an offense of separation, fault of considering the holy name as different from Krishna. This is the fault of distance or separation. And that he's explained that two: separation of syllable and separation of identity. Syllables means Krishna, two syllables, thinking that they are different from Krishna, Krishna himself, or different identities like Krishna's name is different from Krishna. That two different identities. No. Or Krishna's name will, gradually do this and do that. No. Actually, in whatever stage, it is our receptivity which is a problem. Otherwise, Krishna's name is Krishna. Okay. For example, Duryodhan, Dushasan, they also saw Krishna. But did they actually see Krishna? In a sense of Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochane. No. They could not see Krishna as lovable God, as a sweet God, or even as a powerful, great. No, they could not. Why? Because they didn't have basic understanding. Okay? So that is where we have to be conscious. And all these things will become clear as we read the scriptures. Right? So in the pure chanting of the holy name, the chanter is free from the idea that Lord Krishna is different from the holy name. Okay? So that is known as pure chanting of the holy name. When unwanted things, the anarthas are destroyed and Namabhas is thrown away, the holy name becomes manifest. So there are two things we have to be careful. We have to, repeatedly we are saying the same thing. We have to avoid offenses and gain sambandh gyan. Okay? And then we'll see gradually Krishna's holy name will start manifesting, start dancing. Right? The soul will dance. And here, Bhaktivinoda Thakur in verse number 58 is saying that the treasure of spiritual love, prem, dances, and then Maya runs far away. Right? So thereafter, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, he who has faith in the holy name is qualified to chant. All potencies are present in the holy name. So one who has faith, scriptural faith, right, is qualified to chant means chanting purely, right? And then he says that there are no obstacles to chanting, no obstacle of time or place or cleanliness. No, Krishna's name is all powerful and can be chanted anytime, anywhere, right? So that's not a problem. Chanting Krishna's holy name, faith alone makes one qualified to chant again and again and again. Why the acharyas reiterate one thing so many times because they know we are Kali Yuga Jivas. We have short memory. So they kind of repeat things. Repeat things that faith is very important. And that faith is Shastriya Shraddha, scriptural faith, Sambandh Gyan. We have to study scriptures. Okay? So one should accept what is favorable for chanting the holy name and reject what is not favorable. Holy name and the devotional life. Accept what is favorable. This human life is very rare. There's so many humans. How many of them are really serious about understanding the scriptures, going to the temples associated with it? Few. Now, when we have come to this far, we have come so far. We are following the regulative principles. We have taken initiation or planning to take initiation. We should become serious. We should follow this process sincerely. Put our whole heart into it. Time is short. We can leave this body anytime. So we have to become serious now, not tomorrow. Okay? That we have to do. So one should chant the holy name with determination, right? One should always chant Lord Krishna's name and always serve his devotees. This way one will certainly attain pure love for Krishna. Okay? So with this, I like to end here and I like to open the floor for any questions or comments you have or anything you want to share because we have all studied this chapter together. Okay? Any points you want to share? Any comments? Any
Thanks,
questions?
Prabhuji, for nicely summarizing the chapter 2 of Harinaam Chintamani. So you highlighted again and again that faith is very, very important and how to get the faith. So by reading the scriptures and associating with devotees, this is very important. And His holy name has all the potencies. It has all powerful. It is not different from Krishna himself. And when we chant the holy names, we are directly associating with Krishna. And so that is the reason we have to, when we are chanting Krishna's holy name, we have to attentively chant because we are directly in association with Krishna. So, and yeah, when anarthas are there, you may not see the benefit of that. So slowly, when we gradually clean up the anarthas, naturally our consciousness will improve and we can see the result. So yeah, nice points, Prabhuji. Very well summarized.
Thank you, Rajesh. Really, thank you very much. So if there are no comments, should we end? Or anyone wants to share anything? Okay, Rajesh, Prabhu, I think so. All are good. This was a revision session. Can we end?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for
Thank
taking
you.
time.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Namaste.
Krishna.